no coincidence that representing the nation of Portugal is a search and rescue demonstration, because covering an area of 6 million square kilometres, Portugal has the largest area to provide search and rescue cover for in Europe. In fact, Portugal is responsible for the second largest area worldwide, only behind that of Canada. Yes, that's an area of responsibility for search and rescue that stretches from Portugal's own coastline well out into the middle of the Atlantic. It takes in the major air and sea routes to North America, so it's got to be well equipped with rescue helicopters, not apart from the sheer size of that area, and with the Merlin, it certainly is. The demonstration there was really rapid yaw rate. The aircraft systems contribute to what they call the cardinal population region. This will be followed by a max performance vertical flight. A 90 degree right turn. A high performance. Merlin's now been in service with the Portuguese for 20 years. The 751 squadrons are dangerous units. This is when they were named after the aircraft. This was the first time they operated after being commissioned back in 1978. So the Portuguese Air Force, and specifically a squadron 751, maintains a 24-hour alert 365 days a year. So it's ready to intervene in the cases of distress calls coming from anywhere inside their vast area of responsibility. This extends well beyond the Portuguese mainland to the Azores and the islands of Madeira. Yes, and full standby is maintained at Porto Santo on Madeira and also at Laje in the Azores. They are active search and rescue at sea is their base mission. From Madeira to the Azores, they also perform medical evacuation in transport cars just to the Azores. The winds get strong, and that, the high waves, really present several challenges for pilots of these roads. They've always been on so far. beginning, you might have noticed that the cargo door has opened, and we'll soon see one of the squadron's rescue swimmers being deployed. And for those of you down the front, if you look straight ahead to the centre, about 150 metres in front of the aircraft, you'll see a simulated survivor with a smoke flare. Smoke flares generally issued to aircrew, and they provide two purposes. Firstly, for visual identification, and secondly, to give the crew of the rescuing helicopter an idea of what the surface wind is doing. There goes the rescue swimmer with the stretcher. Now this is a three-engine helicopter, the Merlin, in this case 3 Rolls-Royce Turbomatter RTM322 turbocharts, though the type is now only offered by its manufacturer Leonardo with the General Electric CT7, and it's got a pretty strong rotor downwash, and that makes it significantly more difficult for the rescue swimmer to secure the casualty safely, but such is the sort of operation they have to carry out. And here, bear in mind, the pilot in command can't see anything below the helicopter. The systems operator inside the helicopter is keeping an eye on the rescue operation, and on their commands, the aircraft captain, the pilot in command, moves the helicopter into a more suitable position to effect the rescue. A slight difference in this type of rescue craft from normal aircraft. Usually the captain will sit in the left-hand seat, with the co-pilot in the right-hand seat. However, in search and rescue type helicopters, the captain sits in the right-hand seat because generally speaking, that's where the door is. The Portuguese Merlins regularly train at sea with vessels from the country's navy to practice their necessary skills. The priority for the Merlin fleet as the rescue swimmer and the survivor are now winched into the helicopter is support of the civil population, but the Merlins have regained a combat search and rescue tasking after some years where they didn't have that, and they've got 4 Mark 516 Merlins that are configured for that. They've got certain differences to these Mark 514s, such as folding rotor blades, chaff and flare dispensers for self-protection, machine gun mountings on the door and the rear ramp. And that requirement for combat search and rescue is why we're about to see the next manoeuvre. Generally speaking, if it was picking a survivor out of the sea, it would not be an issue, but on a combat search and rescue mission, it is critical to get the crew, the aircraft and the survivor away from potential enemy gunfire. So once the survivor is safely in the aircraft and the kit is stowed, you'll see a vertical take-off and screw dive. This one is one of the 6 standard search and rescue Merlins on Portuguese strength. They've also got, apart from the CSAR, the combat SAR helicopters, 2 that are fitted out to perform fisheries patrol missions. Now there's a demonstration of 3-engine power. And steadily followed by a very vertiginous nose-over. Descending to 100 feet and accelerating to about 100 knots. Setting up for the low pass, as they say goodbye. At 100 feet, with the cargo door open and the ramp open, they perform the wonderful fly past over the runway, through and silent command, over to the ground. The crew has been flying for today, flying pilot command, Major Rodolfo Turco, co-pilot is Captain Jorge Tavares, the systems operator is Fabio Diaz, and the rescue swimmer for effecting the rescue simulator survivor is Jose Sequeira. They turn the runway, accelerating to 100 knots at exactly 100 feet. They will have a very good view of you as they pass the beautiful way to St. Francis. So then, the final pass from the Leonardo AW101 Merlin Mark 514 of the Portuguese Air Force's Esquadra 751. And of course, the Merlin, very familiar in UK service, nowadays all with the Royal Navy, and you can see one of the Royal Navy's Merlin HM2 maritime helicopters in the static park. Great obvious. Yeah, the thing is...